All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome everyone to the workshop webinar for today. Today we're going to have, it's like two workshops in one. We're going to be talking about job development and we're also going to be talking about job readiness. I'm going to go ahead and do a quick introduction. My name is Peter Sotelo and I'm with the Workforce Development Board of Santa Barbara County in partnership with the Santa Barbara County America's Job Centers of California. And here we also have.
Hello, everybody. My name is Osvaldo Sotelo. I am actually with Goodwill Workforce. We're actually a partner with Santa Barbara County America's Job Center of California as well.
All right, so just to let you guys know, we are recording this. This is currently live, but also we'll be updating all this information to our social platforms. That way you guys could have access to it. And if you have any questions, go ahead and ask us later. So we're gonna go ahead and share some information with you before we begin. Let me go ahead and also read a disclaimer that we will be showing to you guys. So as you can see here on your guys' screen, you guys will be able to see the disclaimer. And it reads something like, I hereby grant and authorize America's Job Center of California and its partners the right to take, edit, alter, copy, exhibit, publish, distribute, and make use of any and all video taken to be used in and or for any lawful purposes. We just wanted to give you guys a heads up on that. Like I said, we are going to be recording this and you will have access to this on our social platforms. But if you have any questions, just go ahead and ask those questions as they come up or send us a question on the chat, or you can always ask us towards the end of this webinar. So moving forward, we're going to go ahead and get started. Osvaldo will take it from here and we can walk through the first part of the webinar. Workshop, and then I'll take it. I'll do the second part.
Hello, everybody. Once again, my name is Osvaldo. We're going to be briefly discussing job readiness today, and hopefully we can be of your assistance. If you have any questions, please let us know in the chat or towards the end of this training. So the first slide is welcome to job development. Also, let me know if you guys can't see any of these in the chat. Let me know as well. So welcome to job development. What essentially is job development? So here are the guidelines. How does work experience work? The steps to getting a job. So the first thing that we want to highlight is the application. Once you receive your application, you want to look at the application and see what exactly is it asking for. An application can ask for various information. One of the things that the application can fill out for. Give us a second. We're having some technical difficulties here. Okay. So job readiness. For the first steps application. So making sure we have the application, whether it's online or by hand, and filling out a resume. So the next step is resume. Do we have a resume? And once again, is the resume updated? That is the biggest concern. Does your resume is updated and is accurate, up to date, and focusing on the interviews? Quick tips on interviews. We're going to be going through those towards the end of this PowerPoint. So, like I said, if you guys have any questions, feel free. The first thing is work experience. So the purpose of work experience. The purpose of work experience is to gain knowledge of the workforce, right? To gain the work experience, maybe in a field you want to excel in. For example, you wanted to be a mechanic. But you are enrolled in school, but you have not experienced it. You might want to get that experience at a mechanic shop beforehand. So that's essentially what work experience is. Getting that experience in the workforce field that you want to get into. Time frame. We currently have what is called a Youth Career Services Program that is operated by Goodwill. That gives you that work experience, actually, depending on what you want to go in, depending on the field that you wanted to go into. For example, we have youth coming into that want to go into the medical field. So our job is to place them and give them that experience, that work experience, maybe, for example, at a medical facility like our Marion Hospital here in Santa Maria. Um, the time frame is 170 hours for them. Um, so for example, you practice, you learn, you get that experience, and then hopefully you can get placed and be a success at that work site. Moving forward, keep track of the accomplishments, skills, and projects. One of the things it states here, will you remember in 15 years from now about what you did as a teenager? You know, most of us, depending on our memory, most of us might not, right? So write down every activity and every project and everything you have done, because this might be something that you might want to use in your resume, specifically if it stands out. Keep a scrapbook of the projects, accomplishments, and skills. Example, create a binder with every professional certificate you've earned. This is really good because this is something that you might want to add into the resume that you're building for. And another example is when you're building a resume, make sure you are building that resume for that exact job description. A lot of us tend to want to save some time and create one resume for, say, 6 job descriptions or 6 employments, right? So remember to take your time and create one resume per employment, unless they're really similar, correct? So the steps to getting a job. So you start off with the application process. Make sure to thoroughly fill it in. If you might not want to leave anything blank. If you leave blank, at least put NA or not applicable. Resume, upload your resume to your application as well. That is something that you want to upload as your resume. If you are turning it in by hand, you can always turn in your resume as well as an attachment. And in your interview, remember, practice, 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 practice. I always state this: practice makes perfect. You want to get to the interview like you are eager to get that job, and you obviously studying a little bit of the company to see what they actually expect from you. Moving forward, before we start applying, let's get professionally prepared. Let's narrow our job search by asking, what kind of jobs do I want? So for example, say I really needed a job, but I really didn't know what I wanted to go into. There's going to be thousands of jobs out there, right? So specifically narrowing it down, for example, as you can see on the screen, we have customer service. So what does customer service entail? Retail, cashier, receptionist. That is what customer service really entails. Warehouse. What type of a warehouse are you wanting to go into? Auto shop. There's mechanic shops. There's auto shops where you are dealing with the outside of a car instead of the inside of a car. Medical field. Is this something you want to go into, maybe working at a clinic, working at a hospital, maybe a dental office? Security guard is another one. List 3 types of employers you would like to work for. So that's starting off, narrowing your job search. Instead of having a broad email. Email is a big key to your resume. Keep it simple, keep it straightforward. One of the things that you want to avoid is you want to avoid emails that might not pertain to you. So keep it as simple as much as possible. One example that we can give is that from experience of working with people and placing people into work, there has been people who have not been called because they have an appropriate email. So keep it simple, straight to the point, short and sweet. First name and last name. For example, we have clifford.attire@domain.com. Something that's so simple that can easily be read too as well. Voicemails is another big one. Voicemails, make sure that you actually upload a voicemail to your phone. Keep your outgoing voicemail message simple and straightforward. That's one of the things. If you guys have one of those voicemails where maybe you were trying to create a prank, or maybe you have a music sound, you might want to erase that. Keep it simple. Keep it professional, straightforward. Never have a joke outgoing message. Make sure your voicemail box is not full. That is something we are currently facing. I cannot stress this enough, is when you make a call to offer a job, and guess what? The voicemail is full and you cannot leave a message. What is this going to tell the employer, right? How bad does this person need a job? So make sure to clear your voicemails. Next slide, application. Create a master application to use as a template applying online. This is a great tool. You can always download a master application. So when you do apply to an actual job, you already have all the information in one piece of paper, or at least several pieces of paper. How many of us have applied to a job where you're scrambling to find out dates of your previous employment, to find out where you previously lived, or et cetera, right? Depending on how extensive the application is. So make sure you have a master application. When you're applying online, some of the websites that you can always visit is Indeed, Job.com, Monster, CalJobs, and Snagajob. So make sure that you have a master application because it does facilitate the work. Social media, that is another topic that that is strongly discussed nowadays. Don't post anything about your employers on your social media. Any inappropriate material, keep it private and keep it professional. A lot of employers are now looking at social media and see what types of things you are posting on their social media. So keep it private, keep it professional. The Facebook fairy is real. So if you get a job at a bank, avoiding an email your boss with a family emergency around October 31st, then posting a picture of yourself on Facebook dressed as a fairy, wand in one hand, a bush light in another. That's the tale of Kevin Colvin, whose emergency, aka Halloween kegger, resulted in the Great Pixie Fail of 2008. After the office caught wind of the picture posting, Colvin received his boss's response to his email. Thankfully, lady, there's no hope. Everything is okay in New York. Cool one. Yes, the email was CC'd to the entire office. Yes, it included the fairy photo. Yes, Colvin was fired. So make sure to keep your social media privately, short and sweet, and straight to the point. Moving forward, resume. Create the resume. Proofread it. This is something that you want to do a couple of times. Proofread the resume. Have somebody proofread it for you. Your resume should grab attention in 7 to 10 seconds. Straight to the point. Keep it simple and short. Turn in a different version of your resume to each job type you apply to. Highlight your related skills. This is a good bullet point. So you might want to turn a different version of your resume to each job that you apply for, because each job is different and it has different job descriptions. Review your resume every 3 to 6 months, right? Because every 3 to 6 months, you might be doing something that you missed that you might want to highlight in your resume. Don't go alone. Seek the guidance of others as a way to learn, especially from those who are in the line of work that you want to go into. For example, if you wanted a career in the medical field, hey, ask somebody in the medical field to read your resume, to review your resume. Obtain positive life influences. Create a reference list. Just as you can see here, the references. Create a reference list because you might want to later down the road put those references in your resume. Interviews. What to do before the interview, during the interview, and after the interview. Before the interview. So research the company. Please research the company beforehand. Create a professional portfolio that includes at least 10 copies of your resume on parchment paper, or at least 10 copies of your reference list. Any professional certificates you've earned, a copy of your school transcript, a pen and paper for you to take notes. Only present items from the portfolio upon request. And finally, dress for success. I always tell the people I work with, you never get a second chance to make a good first impression. So dress for success. Good grooming and attire. It is important that you attend an interview well presented and well groomed. You must ensure 70% of communication is visual. That is significantly, to a certain extent, true. As soon as you walk in the door, the employer knows whether he or she is going to hire you. That's why you dress for success. Your clothes are clean and ironed. You are showered and your hair is clean and well groomed. You do not wear overpowering cologne or perfume. You do not smell of cigarette, alcohol, or strong smelling foods. If you have facial hair, that is that is well groomed. Business attire can consist of nice iron, blouse, shirt, pants, skirt, ties, or jackets, just as a green check mark. The red X talks about casual attire such as jeans, t-shirts, thongs, etc., are not suitable for interview attire. Moving forward, during the interview, be genuine, but definitely be professional. Know your hard and soft skills. Hard skills are provable. Example: CPR, certified or bilingual. Um, Soft skills get get you the interview. So soft skills are work traits. So for example, communications or teamwork. So the soft skills get you the job. Use the STAR method to answer questions. Situation, task, action. You look and then results. Have at least 3 questions prepared for the interview. Never leave an interview without asking at least 3 questions. Please remember that. Never leave an interview with at least asking 3 questions. After the interview, so send a thank you note 1 to 2 days after the interview by email. Uh, it can be either email. If you're a little bit more on the old school, dropping off a letter. We've had that actually happen to us, and that actually goes a long way. We've actually hired somebody because they dropped off a thank you letter. That to me told me a lot about the character of that person. Follow up by phone 1 to 2 weeks after the interview, unless you are specifically instructed otherwise. So following up goes a long way, right? A lot of people might not follow up for the interview. So follow up is strictly recommended. And then closing, before I close out, any questions that you guys might have? Uh, as like I said, my name is Osvaldo Sotelo. I'm actually with Goodwill Workforce. You can find my email here, osotelo@goodwillvsb.org. Or you can always call the office 805-981-0103. Please feel free to reach out to me. Let me check the chat to see if there's anybody with questions. I don't think there is. So moving forward with the next topic, I'm going to go ahead and move to the next slide, which is seeking a job.
All right, thank you, Osvaldo. So we're gonna go ahead and move forward. We're tapping into our second workshop of the day. We're gonna be talking a little bit about job readiness and resumes and along with the interviews. So some of us might be seeking a job already, especially during these hard times. COVID-19, also known as coronavirus, is affecting some of us. I was talking to a few people last week, and they were actually asking me if there were businesses that were hiring. I told them, actually, as a matter of fact, there's a lot of businesses right now that are currently hiring, but a lot of the people are not informed about the positions that are out there. So I'll be talking briefly about that, about how to job search right now at the moment with the COVID-19. So let's go ahead and get started. So obviously there's places that are currently hiring at the moment, right? A lot of people, like I said, are unemployed at the moment, and they might be looking for a job. And when I say looking for a job, they're willing to settle for anything. Don't make the mistake of just settling for anything, because if you apply for a job and you don't like it or you don't follow through, at the end, you're the one that's going to look bad, right? So my advice to you will be for you guys to research the companies that are currently hiring out there, right? Review the positions, review exactly what it is that position consists of. What will you be doing there? A lot of the times, the biggest mistake is we tend to apply to a job, and then on our first day or first week, we're not able to do the job because we didn't read the job description thoroughly. We just kind of glanced at it and we said, hey, pays good money. Let's go ahead and apply, and hopefully I get hired. So make sure you review the positions. Like I said, make sure you review every single detail of the position. And also my advice is to research, the people that work there, because at the end of the day, the managers or supervisors are the ones that are going to have the final say on whether they hire you or not, right? Another important thing is obviously knowing exactly what the business you're applying for does, right? So for example, if I'm applying to a job at a McDonald's, right? Obviously, I know that they do burgers, fries, shakes, etc. You know, and also who are the customers, right? So you want to make sure the company in and out. Another big one is the mission statement. A lot of the companies have the mission statement, which a lot of the times when you go to an interview, that's one of the questions that might come up is what do you know what our mission statement is. And that's why I'm saying going back to research the company, make sure you're doing thorough research before you're actually applying, and also make sure you know the information well before you actually go to the interview. How do you fit in to the company, right? Sometimes you might be looking for a job. It might be, for example, working with um, whatever type of people it is, right? You might want to work with the younger crowd. You might want to work with the older crowd. Make sure you are aware of all that. For example, I could tell you from experience that when I was in college, I was actually working at a local bank. And as I transferred out when I was moving to college, I ended up at a different branch with the same company, but the environment was way different. My mistake was that I did not research how that branch what the actual branch was all about. It was obviously older people going from a younger crowd, I guess, younger crowd branch to an older crowd. It was different. I mean, it wasn't easy for me to adapt because there was, not a lot of similar things we could talk about. But again, I kind of sucked it up and then just stuck with it, and um, that was that. So like again, research the company well before you decide to move forward. It's going to be a good thing. So moving forward, we're going to talk a little bit about targeted resumes. There's different types of resumes. For example, there's like chronological, functional, targeted resume, and all that good stuff. Um, so when you have a resume, so what exactly is a resume? A resume is pretty much it's like going to the movies. It's like your ticket, your admission ticket to the actual movies, right? If you have a good resume, they're gonna actually invite you to the interview, right? It's important to keep our resumes updated. Try to polish them here and there, preferably every 3 months or so, just because as time goes by, we learn about a different skill, and like I said, we want to make sure we are putting that on a resume because some hiring managers are looking for those keywords or those big words that make you stand out from everyone else. Now, if you want, you can obviously create a resume for each position you're interested in. My advice with this would only be that each resume you create, you keep track of. We have had people in the past that created multiple resumes and they were applying to a job. So they were applying to the job, but the resume was not reflecting the experience that they had. So therefore, the resume was kind of thrown away, and the person was never called for the interview, right? What is the job title you're applying for? So target whatever you're applying for with your experience. So if I'm applying for an office position and I've had office experience, I'm gonna use all the office experience that I've had. Now, if you have not worked or had a job, the volunteering also it's also good information that you could present or put on your resume, even though it wasn't paid experience. Your volunteer experience it's still meaningful, so it's still good for you to add on the resume. So enter keywords from the job description onto your resume. So a lot of the times, especially nowadays, recruiters are out there, advertising for positions that are gonna make it to the online uh, websites, right? So what they're looking for is obviously they're giving you like keywords. They want you to use those keywords on your resume. Some of the times your information that you enter on the resume, it's already connected to a computer that they just pretty much put your resume in through, and then it spits back whatever keywords you use So the more keywords that you use from their website or their description or position, the better chance you have of getting called for an interview. How can you meet the employer's needs? Obviously, like I said, research the company. What do they do? What do you have to offer to them, right? And that's what it's all about. What do I have as far as skills, experiences that I can offer to the that's going to be key. Carry your resumes in a simple manila folder to keep them clean. Obviously, when you show up to an interview, you want to make sure you have a clean resume, so they could see. Sometimes the interviewer might already have a copy of it, but it doesn't hurt you to bring a copy of your resume to the actual interview. How to target your resume for specific job description. It is very important that each resume is tailored for the specific job. Again, you're applying for a job in, let's say in this case, a medical field. You want to make sure you have some medical field experience, right? Because it's going to be hard for you to apply to a job that you don't have experience in. Because sometimes hiring managers are wanting to hire someone like ASAP, and they don't have time to pretty much train you. Even though they're going to provide you with their training, they want to hire someone that could easily just jump into their business and start kind of working, at a fast pace. So read the job description twice and highlight all the main qualifications needed for the position. So like I said in the beginning, make sure you're reading that job description thoroughly, highlight it, and then all the main qualifications needed for the position. What do I have in my experience that's going to be able to help me out here? So that you want to sit down and kind of read through the description and use your experience for this one, right? So you will want to use these highlighted words in your targeted resume, right? The targeted resume, so you want to make sure, like I said earlier, use all those keywords on that resume to move forward. So job order. So here we have an administrative assistant position, right? They're actually just giving you a description, but highlighted in red are the keywords that they're talking about. So for example, for the administrative assistant position, I'm going to read the first part that says, agricultural growers in Santa Maria is in need of admin assistance for payroll and HR departments. So on this first sentence, we see that admin assistance, it's a keyword, payroll is another keyword, and also HR departments, it's another keyword. So make sure that when you're actually reading through the job description, you make sure that you are actually looking for those keywords, because those keywords are the ones that are going to be able to go on your resume and are going to kind of open the door for you. Location. So a resume, it usually consists of 5 parts. Usually it's your introduction, your objective, the most important part, which is your job history, followed by education, and then skills. But you can always customize those to different sections. So for example, here we have location, location, location. Where you place information on the page indicates its relative importance, right? So usually on a resume, the most important part, obviously, is going to be your work history. What do you have um, on your work history that's going to go on my resume? So actually putting that information into the resume is going to allow recruiters to get that information from the resume and be like, oh, great, I see that this person has what I'm looking for, right? Placing information of a resume is a critical element in capturing interest. And also, if you do not deliver answers to the employer's needs within 7 seconds, you have lost readers' interest, and your resume will probably not go into the interview file. So keep in mind, supervisors and managers are usually extremely busy throughout the day and throughout the week. Whenever they get presented with resumes, their job is to kind of skim through them, glance at them real quick, and make sure they get those keywords, right? They're looking for those keywords, and they're looking for what's going to stand out on the actual resume. So once you have all this information and your resume stands out, obviously it's going into the good pile. But when your resume is not looking so good, that's when there's a problem, because that resume will go into the pile that you're never going to be called for an actual interview, right? Header, your contact information, professional summary, job title, keywords, personal traits, 3 or 4 strong statements about yourself, supporting secondary information, your experience, list information, education, your highest level education completed. So for example, people have asked me in the past, hey, I have a bachelor's degree, but I also have an associate's degree from the local community college, and I also have a high school diploma. So my advice to you is that the interviewer obviously always looks at the highest level of education completed. No one really looks at your high school or your community college because you now have a bachelor's degree. You present that to them, and that's the only piece of information that you present in the education part. A lot of the times I've seen resumes where they have, I went to a four-year institution. I also graduated from community college, and I graduated from high school. So that just creates more of a chaos on the resume. So like I said, include the highest level education completed. Also, if you have certifications that are gonna help you get the job, include those. Also, make sure they're not expired. Any special licenses that you hold, include them on there. Military services, if it helps you for whatever position you're applying, include that information. So try to include information that is positive information that's gonna help you land that job. Moving forward, visual center professional profiles. A profile replaces the old notion of an objective. We usually told what you wanted from an employer. So, for example, on an objective, right? You're pretty much saying what it is that you have to offer to the actual business. And again, it goes back to the same thing that we spoke to earlier. What do I have that I'm gonna offer to you, right? You want to be able to sell yourself, right? Have those strong statements about yourself. Again, keywords, personal traits, all that stuff. It's gonna help you when it comes to your resume. Like I said, your resume is like your ticket to a movie. You're right. You're getting a ticket to the movie, and obviously your resume it's good. That's where they're inviting you to an interview. So I always said to myself that the resume is probably like the hardest part. As long as you have a good solid resume, the interview it's gonna be a piece of cake. But again, some people tend to focus more on the interview than on the resume. That's totally okay. There's people that get nervous for interviews. There's people that are good at interviews. So everyone is different, but don't let that put you down in any way, shape, or form. So sample of a professional profile summary. This one here is experienced customer service representative, friendly, outgoing, responsible customer service professional, able to establish and maintain cooperative work relationships with clients and coworkers. This is going to be key here when it says key coworkers, because you're talking about teamwork, team building. You're talking about working in a team and all that good stuff. A lot of the positions, or I would say almost 100% of them are customer service, right? What kind of customer service you have, and then also are you willing to work in a team? I would say a lot of the positions nowadays, it's a lot of them work in together. So watch out for that. So also it talks about experience working with people over the phone and in person, competent with computer and basic programs, take pride in a job well done, clean driving record with reliable transportation. So whatever it is that you have, try to use that objective to kind of open up your resume, but at the same time, you're going to capture the reader's attention. So a good solid one is going to capture the reader's attention immediately. So as we move forward, like I said, we have multiple resumes, right? Formatting a resume could be an issue sometimes, but again, try to keep track of all the resumes that you have done, and obviously try to format the one that you feel it's going to help you, because like I said, sometimes we have about 10 resumes. We're just kind of running short on time, and then we're trying to update any resume, and then at the end your resume doesn't make any sense. It's just like all over the place. So make sure your resume flows, right? um, that way the reader is not confused as far as like what's going on here. What is this person trying to say, or whatever. So make sure you're clear about that. So chronological resumes are also there. These chronological resumes usually tell me about the most recent job that you had, right? And I usually like to go back about, or actually on a resume, I only like to do about 3 jobs, right? The minute you have 4 or 5 resumes, 4 or 5 jobs in a resume, it doesn't look too good for you because the interviewer is looking at your resume and is looking, hey, this person has had 5 jobs in, let's say, 5 years. So what is the problem? Why isn't he or she able to retain a job? So a lot of the times that also affects you. So for example, in a chronological resume, just try to keep the most recent job that you had or that you have and add obviously 2 more. That way it makes it a total of 3. Now, some people have asked me, what if I have never worked? You have done a volunteer experience, all that stuff counts. So for example, if you volunteer at your local church for a sports event, if you're a stay-at-home parent, all that stuff is going to help you out. Just make sure you know how to put it into the resume so it could be a good solid resume, right? Skills-based stresses what you can do and highlight experiences related to your career goal. Presents information in order of importance rather than by date, right? So emphasize on what you bring to the employer, not where you've been. So whatever experiences that you've had, bring those with you, and how can you incorporate those into the position you're applying for. Information is organized by functions or skills related to the job you're applying for. Marketing, organizational skills, supervisory skills, problem solving. And then also specific examples are given for each skill set function. So now that was just some information regarding resumes, right? So a lot of the times, like I said, people are trying to find information as far as like pay, descriptions, and all that good stuff for a particular position. ONET online, it's a great website where you can log in, and then if you could see my cursor on the right hand side, there is a search box. You could literally search for any position that you could think of. You punch it in, and it's gonna give you some information. So it goes to like a page like this. So for example, if you were job searching warehouse, it's going to give you, a lot of information that's close to warehouse. So for example, if I was to click on one of these, for example, let's click on data warehousing specialist. Obviously, I can't click on it, but if I was to click on it, it would take me to the next page. And on the next page, it would give me a summary, description of what the job is all about. It would give me details, and then here you would also see wages and employment. So it gives me an idea of how much the position is actually paying currently. A lot of the times applications are asking you salary desired. This would be a great tool to just check out, going to ONET, check out the position that you're applying for, and it gives you an idea of where to kind of start. So for example, if you're applying for a position and you're not sure how much it pays, go on here, look for the wages, and if the wage is $15, hey, you can always put $15, or you can always go a little higher, or whatever it might be. So now that was just a little bit about ONET. So my advice for you would be to just try to get familiar with ONET. You're going to get information, like I said, and regarding any type of position. Now moving forward, right? There is an interview. You got your resume was accepted. 30-second commercial. It's like, tell me about yourself, right? So tell me about yourself. This is a statement to describe your skills and services that you have to offer to an employer. It sells your professional abilities and reflects your ideal job profile. So if you've gone through the hard part, like I said, you did your resume, you were invited to the interview, this is where you gotta tell me about yourself. This is where you sell yourself to the actual interviewers to let them know, hey, this is what I have available for you guys. So it's pretty simple, right? It's a 30-second commercial. It could be also known as an elevator speech, depending on how you see it. Just basic, good morning, my name is Jim Smith, and I'm gardening and landscape. I'm a gardening and landscape professional. I have over 10 years of experience in landscaping and maintaining grounds of residential and commercial property. I'm also certified in the use of pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, and insecticides. I was wondering if you have an opportunity in your organization that fits my qualification. So you're just pretty much kind of spitting back your resume, right? Letting them know what you have, what experiences you have, that actually make you stand out from everyone else. So it could be a sample, like like a 30-second commercial, or it could be like an elevator speech, right? Sometimes as we're talking to someone in the elevator speech, we learn about each other like just quick. That's how it's going to be for interview. They're asking you the question, tell me about yourself. You start talking about the experience that you have that qualifies you for the job. Now, here's it's what not to do. I've sat in interview panels before, and I've asked this question, and they're telling me about their personal life, right? If I have 10 to 15 interviews in a day, I do not want to hear about your personal life. I'm wanting to hear what do you have that you could offer for me or my business. So I want to hear that. So like I said, we've heard people talk about their personal life, and I mean, if you're talking about your personal life, you're not focused on the job. So as an FYI, never talk about your personal life during that 30-second commercial or the elevator speech. Talk about like this example here. Give your information. What do you have? What have you done? What type of certificates you have, and all that good stuff to move you forward. So the morning of the job interview, I mean, it's gonna be key. Osvaldo touched on it earlier, saying that there's no second chance to make a first impression, right? So you want to make sure your personal hygiene is good, right? Review your 30-second commercial along with other common questions that might come up during the interview. Try to have a balanced breakfast, right? Sometimes we have breakfasts that are too heavy, and then that affects us during the interview. We might want to use the restroom and all that good stuff. But again, if you eat a balanced breakfast, you should be good for the meantime. And you need to dress for success, right? Again, there's only that first time to make that first impression. No interviewer is going to tell you, hey, step outside and come right back in to see what impression you give me now. No. Whatever impression you make the first time, that's how they're going to remember you. So if you're well groomed, you're well dressed, all that stuff's gonna matter, right? And try to wear business casual attire when you're going to a formal interview. Just try to look good. And I also I've told people try to dress accordingly, right? So for example, if someone who's interviewing for a janitor position or a construction, my advice for you would be not to show up in a tuxedo or in a business casual look, because you're going to be too overdressed, and then the interviewer might be wondering if you are going to be able to do the position or actually work for the position. So I guess try to coordinate your outfit to whatever position that you're going to be applying for or interviewing for. So you're there at the interview. Obviously, a good handshake is good. No fist pumps unless there's something that they're doing right now during this COVID-19. But again, a lot of the businesses are usually hiring or actually interviewing through Zoom or through a phone interview. Whatever it is that you do, make sure you have eye contact, right? I've interviewed people in the past, and they're walking up to me, and as I'm trying to shake their hand, hi, my name is so and so, and they look down. That you want to make sure you're confident when you're showing up to the interview, right? Show interest, smile, make them want to talk to you, make them want to hire you, because when you're showing up to the interview, believe me, all you're really doing is you're keeping that good communication, but at the same time, you're spitting your resume back to them. Whatever you have on your resume, that's what they want to hear. So that's why it's important to go through that resume, look it over as many times as you can, because you want to memorize that resume, because that resume, I can guarantee you 9 out of 10 times they'll ask you that question, tell me about yourself. That's where you can give them the elevator speech, that quick commercial about you, and it's going to help you, right? So practice that. But again, there's other factors that contribute to that. Like I said, eye contact, handshake, show interest, smile. So if they're telling you about the position, make sure you sound interest, and you repeat whatever they're telling you in your own words. So if they're giving you a description about the position, just try to talk to them about it, but use your own words. That way they know, hey, this person is definitely interested. He or she is paying attention to to the uh, to the interview or the questions we're asking. So I also recommend job fair strategy. So during these difficult times, a lot of the positions are going to be posted on websites, business websites. So if you're looking for a job currently, and my advice for you would be to just whatever it is that interests you, try to do about 10 searches, throughout the day, or maybe throughout the week. If obviously you can't ask for business cards, try to contact them over the phone. Let them ask them if they're hiring, right? And if you're simply following up because you had an interview, just follow up. And I want to speak to so and so. I actually interviewed last week, and I just wanted to follow up with the status of my application. Now, there's one thing that you might run into, and we call those people gatekeepers. Usually, if you call a business, you're going to get the office assistant that's going to answer the phone and is going to ask you, you picked a great day to call this location. How can I serve you? And you're looking to speak to Mr. Smith. The first thing they're going to tell you, oh, Mr. Smith's not currently available. Can I take a message? They're just going to try to prevent you from getting to Mr. Smith. So, like, again, going back to the confident part, you want to make sure you sound confident. I wanted to talk to Mr. Smith because during the interview, he told me that to follow up with him. Now that gives you a different approach. So now you're actually calling, you're sounding confident, and then the gatekeeper, whoever's answering the phone, is going to put you through the phone. So make sure, again, you're confident when you're calling to follow up on the job. Some people like to send thank you letters. Some people like to follow up after certain days, or some people like to follow up after X amount of days. My advice to you would be, if you interview today on a Monday, follow up 72 hours later, right? You could send them an email, or you can actually call. What I like to do is actually I like to call the business, because I get like a quicker access to the person I'm looking for versus waiting for a reply by email. Like I said, supervisors or managers can be busy, so getting for them to respond to your email, it's going to be a little difficult. But if you call, he or she might be available, and you might be able to talk to them on the spot. So it depends on you, but try to call within 72 hours. But don't just also overdo it where you're calling every single day to get an update on your application. Don't do that. Just try to call 72 hours. If they answer you at that point, just ask them, okay, well then I'll follow up with you. How would you mind me calling you on this day? And if they give you the green light, go ahead and call them around that time. At least now you're showing interest in the position. And believe me, when it comes to making a selection to an actual for a job, hiring managers are looking at all these things. Oh, well, so and so called me 3 times, so that shows me a lot. Versus the other person who never called, was just hoping they called him or her, and they never did. So trust me, these follow-ups do work. So other than that, just make sure you keep calm. Good luck, and start, by looking at those positions out there that are gonna that are currently open, right? Currently open. Like I said, right now with this COVID-19, we're just moving forward with everything electronically, virtual. Like I said, some of the actual businesses are currently hiring, but again, it's your job to just be looking for positions, whether it's online or whatever social platform you can to get you informed as far as like who's hiring and what are the requirements. So with that said, that wraps up today's session. I would like for you guys to stay tuned for other webinars, workshops. Follow us on our social platforms to stay informed. I'll be sharing some of that information here on the next slide. So here, if you have a QR reader, make sure you scan the QR reader on top. Um, Scan it. That's going to give you access to all of our social platforms. Also, we are going to be updating this flyer on a weekly basis to give you updates as far as like what webinars are coming, trainings, orientations that are currently being held, our AJCC's one-stops. Also, whatever is on demand. So these are videos that are up there on our platforms already. So for example, if you're trying to apply for unemployment and you're not sure how to do it, it walks you step by step. Also how to top 10 interview questions and all that good stuff. And there's also online classes that are being offered at the moment through Santa Barbara Community College and Allen Hancock College is coming soon. So again, make sure you follow us, on our social platforms. On YouTube, you will also find a lot of the videos that we're going to be doing, along with Facebook and Instagram. We're going to be updating a lot of the information on there, so we can inform the public about what's going on. So if you have any questions, don't be afraid to reach out to us. There's also numbers here on the left-hand corner where you could call us for the Santa Maria area or Santa Barbara. And if you live in Lompoc or any of the cities in between, make sure to call either one of those numbers. We can also give you information as far as resources that are more local or in your area. So I'm going to pass it over to Osvaldo to wrap this up. He's going to be talking briefly about the youth career services program that is currently available. So,
Alrighty, I'm back again, everybody. So the youth career services. So what is the youth career services? If you are between the ages of 14 and 24, in school or out of school, in need of a job, attend on orientation meetings. Actually, when we were in when they're every Tuesdays 4 to 5, you can actually give us a call and we can schedule a one-on-one orientation as well. We're doing a lot of our orientations virtually, so that's something that we can always establish with the person who needs that. If you need a job or you want to go to college, this is the right program for you. So what is the program feature? So the program features are paid work experience. Essentially, you get 170 hours of paid work experience and you get to experience the workforce. So like I previously said before in the previous job readiness lecture, if you wanted to go into, if you knew you wanted to go into to be a mechanic, we can put you as a work experience working at a mechanic shop. If you want to go into the medical field, we can help you or assist you with placing you at Mary Medical Hospital. So these just some of those places, for example. So training opportunities, there's different training opportunities. For example, you can get customer service certification, financial literacy certification, resume trainings, any trainings that you might need in order to eliminate a barrier that there is towards employment. Employment preparation includes resumes and interviews. These are really, really good workshops that we put together in order to prepare you for the workforce. Skill certification includes customer service certification, which is through the National Retail Federation. Supportive services is the big one. Anything that you need that can help you, that we can assist you towards support. Essentially, that it's either a bus pass, maybe you need assistance with books, maybe you need assistance with your gas in your vehicle, anything that you need. We basically try to eliminate all barriers there is towards employment. Leadership development, we do have leadership development workshops as well. Job or school placement, we actually help you with either job or school placement. Job meaning whatever career you wanted to go into, we can help you placing you. Or if you wanted to go into a school, we have a couple of workshops that we host where we talk about financial literacy as well. And then we have our 3 locations, which are in Santa Maria, 204 East Enos Drive, Suite A, Lompoc, 1009 North H Street, Suite B, and then finally Santa Barbara, 302 West Carrillo Street. These are our 3 locations. You can always reach us at any of our telephone numbers there for office, or you can send us an email. Once again, you can always send me an email at osotelo@goodwillvsb.org. And this program is up and running, so please let us know if you are interested in this program.
thank you, Osvaldo. So again, just gonna share the information again here. Make sure you stay tuned for other webinars, workshops that are going to be coming. Make sure to please follow us on our social platforms, which are here on this flyer: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. to stay connected. Here we'll be providing information for all the webinars, resources, trainings that are going to be coming, or resources that are available to Santa Barbara County. If you have any questions, you can also go ahead and give us a call, like I said, or reach out to us on social media. Ask us a question there. We'll be usually reply within 24 hours. So with that said, like I said, again, thank you guys for not allowing us to share information with you guys. And that's going to wrap today's session. So thank you. Have a good one. Bye-bye.